first aspect of this whole process that tripped me up was right from the get-go with the applications. And I think everybody at this age is in a very identity-forming period. You're figuring out who you are and what you are and what you want to be. But for me, figuring all of that out was complicated by this medical history that I had. That I was struggling with where to hold this experience in my life. I think one of the sort of double-edged swords of being a survivor when you're still a kid is that you have so much life in front of you, but that also means you've got a lot that you haven't experienced yet and a lot of growing still to do, and as you grow, you sort of have to allow the experience to grow along with you and rehash it as your brain sort of gets more and more advanced. And, of course, one of my rehashing periods lined up right with when I was applying to college, and I had a real sort of crisis of identity about how much a part of my life I wanted my experience with aplastic anemia to be. And that led to me really not wanting to write about it for my college application essays, which was problematic in several ways. One, it created a lot of conflict with my parents because they were like, well, why wouldn't you write about this? It's a great thing to write about. And it also left me, when I had submitted the applications, feeling on the one hand glad that I hadn't addressed it in my essays, but on the other hand, feeling like I hadn't been completely authentic and completely myself in my applications, because the truth is that this experience is a part of who I am, and it's not the only part, but it's a part, and it's a big part. And my advice, I guess, in all of this to you would be to be authentic, to be true to what your experience of your life has been, to tell your story in the way that only you can tell it. Even if it doesn't necessarily line up with what you think admissions officers are going to expect, or what you think society expects of you as a survivor or as a, cancer patient. There's a lot of stereotypes out there, but be you, because the more you can be you, the more satisfied you're going to feel with the application. And honestly, being completely authentic and honest can be really, really scary. But I would say that it's worth it. And so if it feels authentic to you to make the central focus of your essay or a portion of your application be your experience with illness, do it. And if it doesn't, feel free to attack it tangentially through some sort of volunteer work you've done, or how you feel it affected the relationship with people in your family or other people in your life. Or don't tackle it at all if you don't think that it has been a relevant part of your life. The other thing sort of related to this that I really wish I had known is, one, I am a junior and have never laid eyes on the people who read my application at Wesleyan. I think I went into the process thinking that the way I did my application would label me for the rest of college, and that was a huge part of why I didn't want to talk about my illness. But they don't, stamp your forehead with whatever you wrote your essay about when you walk in the gate the first day. Who you are in your application and who you are at school can be two totally different people, or they can be the exact same person. It's entirely up to you. The other important thing is that I was really concerned about writing about my illness in my essay because I didn't want pity. I didn't want to feel like I had like gotten into college on pity. I wanted to get in on merit, whatever the heck merit means. And one of the things I sort of ended up realizing is that a portion of my merit as a person does have to do with this experience that I've had and how I've handled it. If you think of your life like a hurdle race that you're sort of running along with all of your peers, they put a bunch of extra hurdles in front of you that were, this diagnosis and treatment and everything that went along with that experience. And yet, here you still are, on track to graduate from high school, reaching for higher education, and that is a form of merit. It's something to be proud of. It's something to own as a part of you.